You've likely been told your whole life, eat more fruits, they're good for you. And in most cases, this is absolutely true. Fruits are nature's gift. Sweet, colorful, full of fiber and nutrients that energize the body and support healing. But what if we told you that some fruits, yes, even the ones that seem harmless or even healthy, could quietly increase your risk of stroke, especially if you're over 60? For seniors in America and across the world, a stroke is one of the most devastating health events imaginable. It can happen without warning. One minute you're laughing at breakfast with your grandchildren. The next, your arm won't move. Your words don't come out right. Your world changes. What's worse is that many of the risks we carry are hidden in our daily routines, in the foods we eat, in the fruits we trust. In this journey, we're not here to scare you, we're here to empower you. We'll gently explore the lesser-known truths about certain fruits that may increase stroke risk in older adults. These aren't fads or fear-mongering headlines. They are rooted in science, human stories, and lived experience. You'll learn why some fruits are best enjoyed in moderation or not at all. We'll talk about sugar, blood pressure, medication interactions, and hidden sodium. But we'll also celebrate the fruits that do protect your heart, nourish your brain, and help you live not just longer, but stronger. If you've ever stared at your fruit bowl and thought, I should eat more of this, we'll show you how to make the right choices. If you're on medications for blood pressure or cholesterol, we'll help you understand which fruits are your friends and which ones can quietly interfere. This isn't just about what's on your plate. It's about the years ahead, your freedom, your clarity, your legacy, the ability to walk unassisted, to laugh freely, to remember the faces of those you love. Let's walk this road together. Chapter 1. The Sweet Trap. Fruits with Hidden Sugars. Margaret had just turned 74. She was vibrant, thoughtful, and fiercely independent. Her neighbors in a small California town often saw her tending to her rose garden or power walking every morning. Her doctor called her a model patient. Blood pressure? Controlled. Weight? Healthy. Lifestyle? Excellent. But then out of nowhere came the stroke. A mini stroke that struck just after breakfast one sunny Thursday morning. She remembered the breakfast clearly. It wasn't greasy bacon or pancakes drenched in syrup. It was a colorful bowl of fruit, ripe mango slices, sweet lychee, and a handful of red grapes. A glass of water on the side, no coffee, no pastries. I thought I was doing everything right, she whispered, through tears during her recovery. And in many ways she was. But there was something Margaret, and millions of seniors like her, didn't know. Some fruits, especially when eaten in large amounts, can silently overload the body with sugar, leading to spikes in blood pressure and blood sugar and increasing the risk of stroke. Let's start with a truth we don't hear often enough. Natural sugar is still sugar. Yes, the sugar in fruit is different from the refined sugar in candy or soda. It comes with vitamins, fiber, and antioxidants. But as we age, the body becomes more sensitive to glucose overload. Our insulin response slows. The arteries become less flexible. The kidneys don't filter as efficiently, and when too much sugar rushes into the bloodstream, it can damage the fragile vascular system, especially in the brain. Now imagine combining several high-sugar fruits in one sitting, something many people do every day. Suddenly, your healthy bowl becomes a sweet trap. Here are some of the most common culprits. 1. Durian, mangoes, and jackfruit. These tropical delights are beloved in many cultures. Rich, creamy durian, juicy golden mangoes, fragrant fibrous jackfruit. But for seniors, these fruits can be surprisingly dangerous when eaten in excess. Take durian, for example. It's packed with natural sugars and fat. Just one serving can contain over 25 grams of sugar, more than half of what a senior should ideally consume in a day. It's also rich in sulfur antibody compounds that may interfere with medication metabolism, particularly in the liver. Mangoes and jackfruit, while offering good vitamin C, are also sugar bombs. Their glycemic index is high, meaning they release sugar rapidly into the bloodstream, potentially causing spikes in blood glucose, a known risk factor for vascular damage and stroke. 2. Lychee and longan, dragon eye fruit. These small translucent fruits are deceptively sweet. Many seniors enjoy them as a light dessert or afternoon snack, unaware that just a small handful can deliver 15–20 grams of sugar. More troubling is the link between empty stomach consumption of lychee and acute hypoglycemia, a sudden drop in blood sugar, particularly dangerous when combined with certain medications or for those with poor nutrition. In some cases, it can trigger fainting, confusion, or worse. 3. Ripe bananas and grapes. Bananas are often recommended for their potassium, which helps regulate blood pressure, but overripe bananas are high in sugar and can raise blood glucose quickly, especially when paired with other sugary foods. Sweet red or black grapes. Delicious and hydrating, yes, but also sugar-dense. A cup of red grapes contains nearly 24 grams of sugar, and since they're easy to eat mindlessly, it's common to consume more than intended. 4. Sweetened dried fruits. While technically not fresh fruits, dried versions of raisins, dates, figs, or prunes often sneak their way into healthy snack lists. The problem? Concentration. When fruit is dried, the water is removed, but the sugar remains. A small handful of raisins can contain as much sugar as a candy bar. Moreover, many commercially sold dried fruits have added sugars or are coated in syrup to enhance sweetness and shelf life. For seniors, these tiny snacks can contribute to chronically elevated blood sugar, insulin resistance, and eventually damage to blood vessels that may trigger a stroke. Why this matters more after 60. As we age, our bodies change in subtle but significant ways. Slower metabolism means sugars stay in the bloodstream longer. Hardening of arteries makes blood flow more susceptible to disruption. Medication use is more common, and certain drugs interact negatively with blood sugar fluctuations. Insulin sensitivity declines, making it harder to keep blood sugar stable. All these factors make high-sugar fruits risky in large amounts, even if they're natural. But here's the good news. It's not about elimination. It's about moderation and awareness. You don't have to give up mangoes forever or fear every banana, but you do need to think in terms of balance. Pair a small slice of mango with Greek yogurt for protein. Eat grapes with a handful of almonds to slow sugar absorption. Avoid eating multiple high-sugar fruits together in one sitting. How Margaret changed her mornings. After her mini-stroke, Margaret made a few simple but powerful changes. She didn't give up fruit. Instead, she swapped sugar-heavy choices for berries, apples, and kiwi. She added a sprinkle of chia seeds for fiber, and she always paired her fruit with protein, a boiled egg, a small piece of cheese, or unsweetened yogurt. More importantly, she listened to her body. She noticed how she felt after different breakfasts. She stayed hydrated. She talked to her doctor about her medications and learned how food might be interacting with them. Today, Margaret still tends her roses, she still laughs with her grandchildren, and every morning, she greets her fruit bowl with gratitude and wisdom. Because the truth is, no fruit is bad, but for seniors, some fruits demand respect. Let your fruit be your medicine, but not your mistake. Chapter 2. Dangerous Duos. When fruit interacts with medication. For many older adults, taking medication is a daily routine. Blood pressure pills, cholesterol-lowering statins, anticoagulants, or heart medications. These drugs are essential for survival, yet few realize how certain fruits can dangerously alter their effectiveness. Among the worst culprits is one that might surprise you: grapefruit. The grapefruit effect. Grapefruit is often praised for its vitamin C content and refreshing tang, but under its juicy surface lies a chemical compound called furanocoumarin, which blocks a key enzyme in the liver, CYP3A4. This enzyme helps break down many common medications. When grapefruit blocks it, the medicine can stay in your bloodstream too long, sometimes at toxic levels. What does this mean? A heart medication might drop your pulse too low. A blood pressure pill might cause dizziness or fainting. A statin may increase your risk of muscle damage or liver issues. Even a single glass of grapefruit juice can trigger this reaction, and the effect may last over 24 hours. Other fruits to watch. While grapefruit is the most studied, it's not alone. Seville oranges, used in marmalades, pomelos, and even some varieties of limes may have similar, though weaker effects. For seniors on medications, these fruit interactions can increase the risk of stroke indirectly by raising blood pressure, disrupting heart rhythms, or interfering with blood thinners. Real-life example. Take Harold, age 77. He loved his daily breakfast: eggs, whole grain toast, and a glass of grapefruit juice. After starting a new medication for his heart, he began experiencing muscle pain, fatigue, and occasional dizziness. His doctor was puzzled until they looked at his diet. The grapefruit juice was intensifying the effects of his statin, damaging his muscles. Once he switched to orange slices instead, his symptoms disappeared. What should you do? Read medication labels. Many now warn about grapefruit. Ask your pharmacist or doctor about food interactions. Stick with safer citrus options like oranges, mandarins, or tangerines. If you love grapefruit, ask if your specific medication allows it. Some drugs are safe, but many are not. Chapter 3. Sodium in Disguise: The Stroke Risk in Dried Fruits. Dried fruits often appear as healthy snacks. They're convenient, sweet, and nutrient-dense. But for older adults, especially those at risk for stroke, dried fruits may carry hidden dangers, starting with a silent threat. Sodium. The problem with preservation. Unlike fresh fruit, most dried fruits on supermarket shelves are processed and preserved. To keep them shelf-stable and visually appealing, many producers add salt, sugar, and preservatives, including sodium-based compounds. Even if they don't taste salty, some dried fruits, like prunes, raisins, dried apricots, and cranberries, can contain surprisingly high levels of sodium. And for seniors, sodium is closely tied to hypertension, the leading risk factor for stroke. The salt-stroke link. As we age, our blood vessels become less elastic, and our kidneys less efficient at processing sodium. Excess salt causes the body to retain water, increasing blood volume and pushing pressure against arterial walls. Over time, this leads to elevated blood pressure, greater risk of vessel rupture or clot formation, damage to the heart and brain's small vessels. What feels like a harmless handful of dried fruit could contribute to a dangerous buildup of sodium, especially if combined with other salty foods during the day. Sugar makes it worse. To make matters more complicated, many dried fruits are also coated in added sugars, further spiking blood sugar and increasing inflammation. This sugar-sodium combo creates the perfect storm for vascular damage. For example, a small serving, 1/4 cup, of sweetened dried cranberries can contain up to 25 grams of sugar and 8,100 milligrams of sodium. Salted prunes or dried mango slices may sneak in more sodium than a small bag of chips. For an elderly person managing blood pressure, diabetes, or taking blood thinners, these numbers add up fast and silently. A story that resonates. Gloria, age 75, thought she was eating smart by replacing cookies with dried apricots. But her blood pressure readings stayed high despite cutting back on table salt. Only after reviewing her snacks with a dietitian did she realize she was consuming too much sodium from dried fruits. She switched to fresh berries and bananas, and within 2 months, her pressure dropped noticeably. What you can do: read labels carefully. Look for unsweetened, unsalted dried fruits. Limit portion sizes. Even natural dried fruits should be eaten in moderation. Choose fresh fruits when possible. They're lower in sugar and sodium. Drink water when eating dried fruits to support kidney function and flush excess sodium. Safer options. If you love the chewy texture of dried fruits, try unsweetened dried apples or figs. Freeze dried fruits with no added sodium. Homemade dried fruits made with a food dehydrator, no salt or sugar needed. Chapter 4. When Sweet Turns Sour: The Hidden Dangers of High-Sugar Tropical Fruits. Tropical fruits are loved for their vibrant flavor, juicy sweetness, and colorful appeal. For many seniors, a ripe mango or a bowl of sliced jackfruit is more than a treat. It's a taste of nostalgia, a reminder of youth, family, or cultural traditions. But for older adults, especially those managing blood pressure, diabetes, or at risk for stroke, these high-sugar fruits can silently sabotage health. The sugar shock. Let's begin with the basics. Fruits like mangoes, durians, ripe bananas, lychees, longans, and jackfruit are naturally high in fructose, a type of fruit sugar. While fructose from whole fruits isn't inherently harmful, excessive intake can overwhelm the body, especially in older age when metabolism slows down. Too much sugar, even from fruit, can lead to spikes in blood glucose, increased insulin resistance, higher blood pressure, elevated triglycerides. All of these are known risk factors for stroke. Take ripe mango, for example. Just one medium-sized mango contains over 45 grams of sugar. That's more than 11 teaspoons. For a senior managing their blood pressure or trying to prevent stroke, this can quietly push their system toward danger. The glycemic load factor. Glycemic load, GL, is a measure of how much a food will raise a person's blood sugar after eating it. Tropical fruits often have higher GL values than berries or apples, meaning they cause more rapid blood sugar rises, especially in their very ripe forms. This matters because every rapid spike is followed by a sharp drop, leading to vascular stress, inflammation, and over time, vascular damage that can contribute to stroke. Cultural favorites, but at what cost? In many cultures, durian, jackfruit, lychee, and longan are considered delicacies. They're often eaten in social gatherings or as dessert. But few seniors realize that. Durian contains both high sugar and saturated fat, a rare combination in fruit. Jackfruit, especially when ripe, has a very high carbohydrate content and can worsen blood sugar control. Lychees and longans are particularly dangerous when consumed on an empty stomach due to their high glucose release. A real-life example. Mr. Thomas, a 78-year-old retired teacher, loved mango smoothies every afternoon. Despite his efforts to eat well and exercise, his blood pressure stayed high and he experienced occasional dizziness. It wasn't until his doctor reviewed his diet and pointed out the daily sugar load from his fruits that the connection became clear. By replacing mangoes with berries and apples, he saw improvement in both his blood sugar and blood pressure in just weeks. Safer alternatives. Instead of tropical high-sugar fruits, seniors can enjoy blueberries, raspberries, and strawberries, high in antioxidants, low in sugar. Apples and pears, rich in fiber and gentle on blood sugar. Citrus fruits, like oranges and grapefruit, but avoid grapefruit if taking certain medications. Tips for seniors. Don't eat fruit alone, pair it with a source of protein or healthy fat to reduce the sugar spike. Avoid dried or canned versions, they often contain added sugars. Stick to one serving at a time, around 1/2 to 1 cup of cut fruit. Bottom line, tropical fruits are not bad, but for seniors with vulnerable health, how much and how often they are consumed makes all the difference. By making smart swaps and balancing fruit intake, older adults can still enjoy nature's sweetness without the hidden risks that could lead to devastating consequences like stroke. Chapter 5. The Medication Trap. When grapefruit becomes dangerous. For decades, grapefruit has carried the reputation of a superfruit. It's low in calories, rich in vitamin C, and often recommended for weight control and immune health. But for older adults, especially those taking daily medications, grapefruit can become a silent health hazard. Many seniors don't realize that this one fruit, as healthy as it seems, can interfere with how their medications work, potentially raising the risk of serious side effects, including stroke. The science behind the risk. What makes grapefruit so dangerous? Grapefruit contains natural compounds called furanocoumarins. These chemicals interfere with a liver enzyme called CYP3A4, which plays a critical role in metabolizing many medications. When CYP3A4 is blocked, your body may absorb too much of the drug, leading to higher concentrations in your bloodstream than intended. This can result in dangerous drops or spikes in blood pressure, irregular heart rhythms, blood vessel damage, increased risk of stroke or heart attack. Common medications affected. Here's the alarming part. Grapefruit can interfere with over 85 known medications. Many of these are commonly prescribed to older adults, including statins for cholesterol, like simvastatin, atorvastatin, blood pressure medications like nifedipine, antiarrhythmics like amiodarone, anti-anxiety medications like buspirone, immunosuppressants like cyclosporin. Even just one glass of grapefruit juice can impact your body for up to 72 hours. A cautionary tale. Eleanor, a 74-year-old woman from Florida, took a statin to manage her cholesterol. Every morning, she drank a glass of freshly squeezed grapefruit juice, a habit she'd kept for over a decade. Her doctor never mentioned any risk, but over time she began experiencing muscle pain, dizziness, and eventually an episode of atrial fibrillation that led to a brief hospital stay. The cause? Excess statin levels in her bloodstream, triggered by grapefruit's interference. Why seniors are especially vulnerable. As we age, our liver function naturally slows down and our ability to metabolize drugs weakens. That makes it even easier for medication levels to build up, especially when grapefruit blocks that pathway. What's more, many older adults take multiple prescriptions. A fruit that interacts with one medication might also amplify the effects of others. For seniors, that means a simple grapefruit segment could turn a safe medication into a dangerous one. Safer substitutes. So if you're craving something citrusy, here are alternatives that don't interfere with medications. Oranges, still rich in vitamin C. Mandarins or clementines, sweet, safe, and easy to peel. Apples or pears, gentle on digestion and drug absorption. Berries, rich in antioxidants, low in sugar. Smart tips for seniors. Always read your medication label. Many will say avoid grapefruit. Ask your pharmacist. They're a valuable resource for checking food-drug interactions. Keep a food diary if you're noticing new symptoms. It may help connect the dots. Final thought. Grapefruit isn't inherently dangerous, but for someone on medication, it can be. And in many cases, that danger builds slowly, undetected, until something goes wrong. In the world of aging wisely, awareness is everything. When it comes to food, even healthy choices must be made in context, especially when medications are involved. Chapter 6. The Hidden Salt Bomb. Why dried fruits might raise stroke risk. Dried fruits like raisins, apricots, prunes, and dates may seem like healthy snacks. Portable, sweet, and high in fiber, but for seniors, especially those managing blood pressure or heart disease, they can be a silent threat. Most commercial dried fruits are coated in added sugar and preserved with sodium-based additives to enhance shelf life and flavor. Just a handful can contain more salt than a bag of chips and a sugar load that quickly spikes blood sugar levels. This combination of high sodium and concentrated sugar makes dried fruits a risk factor for hypertension, a primary contributor to stroke in older adults. Why it matters. High sodium increases blood pressure and strains arteries. Concentrated sugars can worsen insulin resistance. Small portions often mislead, leading to overconsumption. Smart alternatives. Choose fresh fruits like bananas, oranges, or apples. If eating dried fruits, opt for unsweetened and unsalted versions. Limit portions to 1-2 tablespoons per day. Final thought. Dried fruits aren't inherently bad, but moderation and label awareness are key. When it comes to stroke prevention, even small snacks matter. Closing message to the audience. Thank you for staying with us until the end. Understanding how fruits can both support and complicate your health after 60 is a powerful step toward longevity. By choosing fresh, low-sugar, heart-friendly options and avoiding risky combinations, you're not just avoiding stroke, you're building a life of strength and clarity. Your health is in your hands, and every wise bite brings you closer to a better tomorrow. If this content was helpful, please like, share, and subscribe for more insights on aging with vitality. See you in the next video.